Alright, quick splice here for 7th Fleet, and in today's training video we're going to go over pre-plan mode for several weapons here on the Hornet. Alright, so what does that mean? Pre-plan mode is basically a fire and forget weapon system platform that you can utilize other than TOOs, target of opportunity, where you can use a lightning pod or flare pod to get the GPS coordinates as you see it, hitting the TDC enter and having it transfer over to your mission screen. What we're going to do is enter in the GPS coordinates in order for that to work. We have to know those coordinates, its altitude of the target, and then entering it into our scratch pad, which I'm going to show you how to do, and then entering it into the UFC. It is labor intensive, so bear with me, but the satisfaction of being able to release 8 weapons, I'm going to show you real quick. 8 JSOWs are going to basically leave a lot of hurt. So I want to go to F10. This is the area that we are looking at. We are looking at the BTR, the BMP, the BTR, the BMD, the T80, T90, BMP, BTR 80. As we're hitting this circle of targets, hopefully it might cause some splash damage to these guys here. So what do you need to have? In the upper left-hand corner, I'm going to hit Alt-Y. Left Alt-Y cycles between multiple different coordinate systems. The coordinate system you need to do this is this one. It says south 51-38-40.66, west 59-59-15.26 with 215 feet. You need this format in order for this to work, right? Then when you click on a target, it will tell you in the bottom left its altitude and then what is its coordinate system. Okay, so basically it's an 8-digit coordinate and then the altitude. There is a mod that we utilize called Scratchpad. So Control-Shift-X. Control-Shift-X brings up like a notepad for you that you can type all that information in here, so you're not actually having to use pen and paper and an actual kneeboard. I find this is really, really helpful. The link for this is in our Discord. It's a mod, and I believe it's a script. So Control-Shift-X. And I've already done you the liberty of typing out these 8 targets. The first 4 will be for the first 4 JSOWs under pre-plan 1, and then the next 4 will be under pre-plan 2. I'm going to explain that when we do it. So let's go back to the aircraft. I'm going to scratch pad up here. So this is the arduous task of having to enter in things. So first we're going to go to our stores. We're going to enter our JSOW. It has a timer right now of 10 minutes while that's working. The fuse will be instantaneous. And then we're going to come over here to JSOW display. And now we're at JSOW display. We want to go to our mission. Okay, so this is what the mission page looks like. We have what's called Target UFC down here on the bottom right. We're going to hit Target UFC. And we're going to enter in these positions. So the first position, click on that. Click on latitude. And we're going to put in south, because we are in the South Atlantic for this. And then it's going to be followed by 5, 1, 8, 5, 3, so 5, 1, 3, 8, 5, 3, and then we're going to hit enter. Now it's blank, but that's because it needs the last 2 numbers. So we're going to do the last 5, 3 of the first 6. The first 6 of the last 2 of that. And then we're going to enter, and you'll see that that has populated down here. 5, 1, 3, 8, 5, 3, 5, 3. That's what we got here. We're going to do that for the longitude now. We're going to choose whiskey. We're going to do 5, 9, 5, 8, 1, 8. Again, the last 2 digits for that full 8 digits. It's going to go after enter. Put 8, 7. Enter. Alright, so we have 5, 1, 3, 8, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 9, 5, 8, 1, 8, 8, 7. That's what matches here. Now, how do we get to the altitude? What we have to do is cycle the target UFC. And choose elevation, choose feet, and we're going to put in 177, enter. Alright, so now we have our elevation 177 feet. This is for pre-plan 1 for station 8, and this is the coordinate. We're going to hit step, and now we are on station 2. Again, we have to cycle target UFC, position, latitude, south, 5, 1, 8, 5, 7, 8, 9, enter. enter. I'm going to bring this down a bit so I can read it a little bit faster. Sorry about that. Then we're going to choose our longitude, west, 5958, 10, enter 46, enter. I'm going to cycle this, elevation, feet. I'm going to put in 190, enter. Right? And as you're doing this, you can always confirm what you're doing. We'll hit step, go to the next, so station 7. I'm going to cycle our target VOC, we're going to do position, we'll do that. And 51 cigar, south, 513, 902, enter, 93, enter, longitude, west, 5958, 06, enter, 30, and then we're going to cycle the target VOC, choose elevation, choose feet, and do another 190, enter. Alright, so we're going to go off to the next, the last of the group of 4, cycle again, position, lat, south, 513,907, enter, 43, enter, longitude, west, 595811, enter, 25, enter, cycle the target VOC, choose elevation, choose feet, 170, enter. Now, if we cycle through, we have the first 4 under PP1. So we're step, step, step. Okay, so we're back to station 8. Okay, if you saw there, we have the first 4, but we have 8. Right, so that's the next group here. So what we're going to do is we're going to choose pre-plan 2. So up here we have pre-plan 2, and we're going to do the same process. So target VOC, position, latitude, south, 513,909, enter, 59, enter, longitude, west, 59, 5817, enter, 19, enter, cycle the target VOC, choose elevation, choose feet, 178, enter. Alright, so now that is entered under pre-plan 2. What we want to do though is cycle back to pre-plan 1, hit step, and now you're on station 2, and choose pre-plan 2. And let's put in, and cycle to clear that out. The next one, 5, 1, sorry. Let's try that again. Position, lat, south, 513, 908, enter, 01. Okay, 513,398,01. And then our longitude, west, 595827, enter, 16, enter. Okay, and then we're going to cycle the target VOC, choose elevation, choose feet, and we're going to put in 192, enter. Okay, again, go back to pre-plan 1, go to the next step, hit pre-plan 2, and then we're going to cycle the target VOC, choose position, choose lat, and then choose south, 513,904, enter, 13, enter, longitude, west, 595,835, enter, 31, enter, cycle the VOC, elevation feet, and that one's at 202 feet. Double check myself, 513,904, 59583531, elevation 2. Alright, again, going back to pre-plan 1, we're going to hit step, and then we're going to hit pre-plan 2, and we're going to put in our last target by cycling that, with position, go to lat, south, 513,901, enter, 85, 85, enter, longitude, west, 595841, enter, 87, 87, enter, 51291, 5, 5958 4187. All right, we're going to cycle target AC, put in our elevation in feet, and 211. Enter. All right, so you can always, and then make sure you go back to pre-plan 1, and you can cycle back to 8. You can always cycle through these and just double check. I'd rather you fire correctly, getting bomb on target, than worry about, having to go back and forth and rearm because you messed up the coordinates. So just check yourself if necessary. All right, to close this, we're going to hit Control-Shift-X. Now, someone was saying to me, well, Splice, you can do all this on the HSI. Yes and no. HSI will give you a waypoint. You can make that waypoint to a waypoint designate for a target. The pre-plan mode is the most accurate method and allows you to launch up to 8. 8 JSOWs, 8 GBUs, 4 slams. The harms utilize a pre-brief mode where you have to enter a code. So for this though, GBUs, JSOWs, and slams, you can set up a pre-planned mode for. All right. So if you look over here at the HSI, that's all of our targets we entered. It's all the way over here. Okay. We're going to go ahead and cycle back to 80 nautical miles, and looks like we have a target at 40 miles, which we do if I was to go over here. All right. So let's go ahead and get airborne. I've already started up the aircraft. I got a center tank for fuel. I'm going to turn off the parking brake. And let's get ready to launch. And let's have some fun. Okay, my master caution. Go ahead. Get my wings out. All right. Work for the launch bar. Launch bar down. Run, little man, run. All right, come forward. Launch bar retracted. Alright, let's go. Alright, so now you're in charge, so 8, F6, salute, and off we go. Alright, landing gear up. We're gonna go right. Go ahead and get the cockpit ready for a master arm of air to ground. I'm going to choose my JDAM display. I'm going to choose mission. I'm going to show you why here in just a bit. Let's get some altitude. On my other HSI, or ADDI, I'm going to select HSI. Alright. You see that line? That's my flight line towards the target. The higher I get in altitude, the bigger that circle is going to get, because that's going to change the range to me to drop targets. On the HUD, you will see timer and manual and JSOW pre-plan. Target is 42 miles away. So let's continue to gain some altitude, and then I'll come out of burner. The higher, the better, right? Airspeed to come down on the angle of attack. Beautiful day here in the South Atlantic. It's a new mission that I'm pretty happy that I got. Alright, we're going to try to get to 24,000, then I'll turn on auto throttle. And we'll get a heading select going. And I'll show you some of these other controls that you may not have been utilizing. It just makes your life 1,000 times easier. Alright, climbing up to 24,000. Alright, so let's make our life easier. I'm going to go autopilot, barometric altitude hold. It's going to hold us at about 2440. And I'm going to throttle back. I'm going to engage auto throttle. A-18C means auto throttle control. We're going to stay at about 300 knots. Now, over here we have our target towards the south. I'm going to hold down my heading select button, and I'm going to move the heading select bug right to where it's over the target. Alright, just like you see here. I'm going to autopilot, and I'm going to go heading select. We are now going to fly towards target. Lit George. George is kind of not George co-pilot gunner from Apaches, but George is kind of the nickname for autopilot. When I was in the Coast Guard in a helicopter, we called our AFCS, automatic flight control system, George. We let George fly the helicopter. I'm going to let George fly my Hornet. All I have to do is launch 4 JSOWs and then switch to pre-plan 2. So essentially what we're going to do, we're going to change to our heading to get in range of our target over here. Right. We're still quite a distance away. I'm going to scale out, so there's 80, there's 40. Target is at 55 miles. What we're going to do is we're going to launch the first 4 that we had here, Control-Shift-X. So the first 4 are on pre-plan 1. Then we're going to switch to pre-plan 2 and fire the second 4. That will be all 8 JSOWs. By doing that, you'll hit 8 targets simultaneously at the same time. It's pretty awesome. Okay. So we're rolling in on the target now with our heading select. Maintaining 20 Angels 24. miles to target. And what I can do, looks like our heading needs to change just a bit, so I'm going to tap the heading select over and line this up so we're flying true. I just want to make sure that there's no SAMs that I'm going to have to contend with in the area. Alright, so there is one SA-11, 11 miles out. I think we will be fine, SA-11 at 80 miles out. So we're going to be good. We'll be far enough away that the SA-11 will engage us. We can fly directly towards that diamond. That diamond is the first set of targets. Okay. As I change my step, the distance, you can see how the diamond changes. That's because I'm selecting each of the 4 different targets. So we're going to cycle back to station 8. If I change pre-plan 2, that diamond will also track the other 4 targets. Okay, 80 miles out, we'll switch to 40. Again, so we have about 2 minutes till we get to in range. Make a ham sandwich, as good old Wags would say from Eagle Dynamics. Miles, 1 minute. Let's go show you some exterior shots. Coming up on less than a minute, you can see there, let's change our scale. Once we are inside of this launch circle, this circle is the calculation that you are within range to launch JSOWs. They will glide to the target. Obviously, the closer you get, the better, but there is also the element of being too close, and they're not going to hit their target. Okay, coming up on 26 seconds. I want you to watch how I do this, and then we're going to go into an autopilot attitude hold and orbit, and we'll watch them go into strike. But I'd like you to just kind of watch the methodology of how this is done. Alright, so coming up in range. Okay, we are now in range. I'm going to fly just a little bit closer. Why? Because there's a total of 8 targets. So when I do this, I want to just do it all at once and just dump all 8 JSOWs. Alright. Kind of wait for that tail to get in. Tail's in the circle. Alright, first thing I'm going to do is launch the first 4. So, weapons release, weapons release, weapons release, weapons release. Now, I have to select pre-plan 2. Weapons release. We're going to hit step, pre-plan 2. Weapons release, step, pre-plan 2. Alright, so all 8 have all been sent on a pre-plan 2 and a pre-plan 1. Let's change our heading to get us out of the way so we don't run into that SA-11. Actually, I'm going to clear out our autopilot. And we're going to choose attitude hold here, barometric hold here. So there's our target group. Let's hope it gets over that mountain range and glide bombs in. We are orbiting here, and in comes our 154s. Look at them, grouped all nice and sexy. And it's just one of those things. It's kind of cool to watch them all come in and hit 8 different targets, and it just strikes the fear in the enemy. Now, granted, it is AI, so they may not know. So we got to make sure that we're going to clear that mountain range. So something to consider is the terrain itself. You might need to use GBUs because they're going to go more narrow in your deployment, so you might have to get over those mountain ranges. If you can glide bomb into a flat area with the JSOWs, great. If you can utilize a SLAM, you might be able to utilize the video portion of it to help steer it. Okay, so looks like we are good to go. We just gotta get past this last mountain range right here. Again, the higher you are, the better odds you're gonna get in that angle of attack. Yep, we're gonna make it. You can see the red dots and the enemies. It's like all 8 are gonna make it. Boom. So let's see if we can find the last one. Kind of a cool shot. Oh man, look at that. Look at the upper right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 targets destroyed. Go to F10. And yeah, now they're all dispersing and moving because they were not anticipating that strike. Alright, so that's on the JSOWs with the same exact methodology with the GPUs and the SLAMs. It's a very cool system. So that being said, Splice for 7th Fleet, thanks for working with me, and hope you learned something new.